So yesterday, my girl was talking to me, and she said, "Hey, baby." Actually, she didn't say it like that. She said, Eli, you know what's kind of weird to think about? That we used to suffer in silence, but now we're all just miserable together. And I heard her say this, and I'm like, what the? What the? Who is this? Because she don't normally talk like that. So I was like on guard, you know? But no, seriously, I was like, damn, that's kind of a bar. Let me repeat that again. We used to suffer in silence. I had to write this down. I was like, baby, we're about to go to sleep. I'm like, honey, I gotta go out. I gotta get a notebook and a pen. I gotta write this down. You're cooking. You're cooking. We used to suffer in silence, but now we're all miserable together. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I filled up her water bottle. I said, baby, give me that water bottle. Let me fill that shit up for you. Let me tell you, this is gold right here. This is really gold. I think that she's onto something deep. And I think you guys have seen it. You ever seen the little YouTube videos? Like I made one that was going retarded from not socializing. I had base and it went pretty, it got like 200,000 views. But people saw that and they thought that I was complaining about being super isolated and going retarded. I was talking to someone that had said that. They said I'm going retarded from not having any socialization. But what I noticed is that YouTube started to promote these sort of pity videos. There was that one MIT one, the quit my job as a neurosurgeon. Now I'm up in the mountains trying to find myself. It's like, that wasn't the first one. There's always been one. There's always been these guys. There's one guy smoking just smoking a cigarette, just complaining about his life, how he has to work at a gas station, how life's tough, how no one's gonna buy a house. And I started thinking about this, dude. Like, we're shown, and I really do think that YouTube has some sort of propensity to promote these because they were blowing up. They were blowing up. A lot of people started hopping on this trend of talking about how shitty their existence was, how much suffering they were going through. And what I started thinking when she said this is I started to think she said to me, we see people suffering so much now, whether they be influencers, doctors, people in healthcare. We see the celebrity suffering. And she said, in a way, it kind of was good, because you could relate. You could kind of share in the suffering. But she said, and what really stuck with me is we used to have to deal with that ourselves. And maybe we see it too much that it makes us feel pity. So I started to think about this. I'm like, holy shit, she's really onto something. So what I came up with is this. We used to suffer in silence. And by doing so, we all had a sort of personal narrative, right? Like we had to tell ourselves a story, dude. When my mom and dad passed away and I was working shitty jobs and I had no one there, I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't have the internet. I remember one time I discovered Marcus Aurelius Meditations. And I started reading this. And the very beginning when he starts talking about you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. He was like, I learned from my mentor. I learned from so-and-so. And he kind of posted his family tree. I remember sitting there. It was kind of like the first book I read, that and The Name of the Wind. And what it did is it helped me remember why I like to, it helped me just think that I have power. I had power to do something about my situation, even though I was suffering. And it made me start to develop a story inside of my head. And a lot of people these days may call this the ego. Too much ego. And I think really what you see, we could go on a whole damn tangent here, but a lot of the Redditors and the soys, the bugs of the world sort of collude, into this group of pity and just complaining about how miserable everything is. They share in being miserable instead of suffering in silence, having this heroic sort of ideal rise up that will find a way, even if the things are shitty, dude. It'll be like, shoot, in our group, Noah, which is a freaking tank of a man, a Viking of a man, said that the way forward is through. The obstacle that is in your way, man. That's the only way forward. It's freaking through. And I'm butchering his quote, but I think it's a spinoff of something else. But what a freaking thing, man. The only way is through. It's like, yeah, you got to punch through, but in order to do that, you must believe. You really must believe. And I'm telling you, I truly think that we have an identity crisis with the individual. We see too many people being miserable, and we partake in their misery. We take pity on ourselves. It's like, instead of being the Superman, where we rise up, now we got the freaking Avengers. And we have this Hawkeye character. And all the Avengers, they don't even have like a really good role. They're just kind of like blending in. It's just soy boy Avengers. It's like, where's the real hero? With great power comes great responsibility. It's like, dude, calling, men at arms. High Thumos. Freaking High Thumos salute. So, one thing in our group, man, just trying to foster that. We don't take the pity. We're not going to have pity on you. If you've been having pity on yourself, we're going to get that autism out of you. We're going to get that shit out of you. And I'm telling you, man, it's like, I think we've lost the ability to suffer in silence, to deal with our own things. Yes, it's important to be around others that lift you up and strengthen you, but you really have to create this heroic ideal within yourself. You got to begin to believe and create this. Maybe it is the ego. But make the ego serve you. It's not your enemy, like everyone wants you to think. The ego can serve you. It is their enemy when you get butthurt and you get upset and you get emotional at every little thing. But you need that story. You need to believe that you can. You need to think that you can. I was in the group talking to Vinny, which is another freaking, we call him the myth, freaking Greek god, dude. And Vinny was like, I've always thought that nature has this ability to adapt. He posted a picture of a falcon with a freaking arrow through his bosom, through his breast, sticking out the back. And he's sitting on the wire with punctured by an arrow, and he's just sitting there stoic like this. Like, yep, just took an arrow to the bosom. And I'm still a freaking badass hawk. And, I'm alive right now. And he's probably suffering. But nature adapts. The other day, I was on a walk with my girl. We saw a shit ton of geese. Geese are evil little creatures, by the way. And one of these geese had a limp foot. It was just limping around. And I was like, I kind of felt bad for it, Kind of felt a little bad. I was like, look at that little geese. That little goosey. And it was hopping around. It was limping. But it was just like carrying on. It was just keeping up with the tribe. It was just, okay. It still hissed at me. I'm like, damn, dude, calm down. Calm down. Nature adapts. We have the ability to adapt. Sometimes people talk to me. Like, I talk to them, right? I'm talking to them. And they're like, yeah, I've been going to therapy. And, I'm just dealing with... it's been good to talk to. I'm like, good. They're like, why don't you go to therapy? I'm like, what do you mean? Why would I need therapy? Well, because, okay, maybe you had some hard life or I'm like, no, it's fine. Not everything, I don't need, it's natural. You adapt. Some people need therapy, dude. Some people need a little bit of therapy. I get it. But I don't think we need to have a pity party thrown for every little thing. I just don't think we need it. We do have the ability to adapt and really conquer. But again, I'm going to leave you with the quote. that she said, we used to suffer in silence, but now we're all miserable together. So if you're in groups where people are throwing a pity party, if there's complaining, you need the force there, the vanguard to say, no, we're going to seek strength. We're going to grow together. We're going to be solid and strong. We don't get to just bitch and moan and complain. If there's people out there you're listening to and they're bitching and moaning, stop listening to them, dude. It's okay to suffer a bit in silence, because I'm telling you, you will conjure up the heroic. You will summon the heroic from within. And sometimes it does come only from within. It doesn't come from outside. The more misery you see, the more suffering that you hear other people, even if the housing markets look bad, even if the world's going shit in the war in Ukraine, that's not your reality. You don't have to deal with that right now. You may never have to deal with it, so stop focusing on it. Yes, there's a lot of suffering. You have your own suffering. You have your own obstacles that stand in the way. The way is through those, okay? The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes a way. Hi, Thumos, man. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.